Okay, one problem that we have is sometimes pictures are very, very large. So here's a picture right here. This is a scaled down version of the picture. And when I click on it, it shows me the real size of it. And you can see it's absolutely huge. So I went ahead and downloaded that picture into Windows Explorer. And we can see this is the picture file it is. And you can see it's 919 KB. It is way too big for free Hostia, which we have to have it at least 500 KB. So let me tell you this two-step process for making these smaller. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up with Paint. Now, if you have a Mac, I think you've got some sort of Paint type of piece of software you can use for the same thing. And look at this. You can't even see anything on it because it's so huge. So yeah, you can see there's the face. Sheesh. So we don't need it that big. So the first thing I'm going to do is resize it. So click on, let's see. Hello, where'd it go? Ay, no, no. Ah! All right, we're back. All right. So we have in the home on the file menu, we have a resize. When I click on that, that's not going to help me. So I'm going to take a look at pixels. Whoa, 4,928 pixels. No wonder it's way big. So one of the things you can do first is knock down the horizontal, which is the width of it, to 2,000. And what's going to happen is, as long as you have this checked, it's going to keep the ratio. And when I click OK, now it's a much more reasonable picture. And then I'll go ahead and I'll save it. And let's take a look at what it looks like now. So now it's 515, so it's still 15 KB too big. So another thing we can do is go to a website that's going to make it smaller. And that is called TinyPNG. So tinypng.com. And all I have to do is move this over a little bit, is drag my clown file and drop it into the website. And now it's going to go ahead and take, so you can see it's 527 KB as far as that's concerned, and knocked it down to 152. So let's go ahead, let's do this. I'm going to change the name of it now. And I'm going to call this Clowns Big, because I want to save it. It's going to drop it on when I download it. It's going to download it using the same file name. So there's my clown one. I'm going to show it in a folder. All right, so it's going to be in our my download folder, and I'm just going to drag this now to my 162 folder where that is. All right, so here's my old folder. It's 515, and it started as 900 and something. So that's the two-step process that I recommend that you do. Right, the first thing you do is open it up in especially if it's a huge file. You may not get the same bang of the buck by dropping that into TinyPNG if it's that huge, because it's going to keep it that huge. So the first thing you want to do is cut it down the size. And I recommend no more than 2,000 2,000 pixel width. You could probably go down to maybe 1,700 pixel width if you want. Then if you have it on a big screen, it's going to stretch out. It might pixelate a little bit, but not too much. So I would get it down to that. And then once you get it down to that and save it, then you can use this TinyPNG to go ahead and knock it down the rest of the way. Look at the huge, it knocked 71% of the size off it. So, but the max is 5 megabyte. Now, if you take a picture with your camera might have every picture is 10 megabyte or 20 megabyte even. So you have to be careful. You can't upload anything more than 5 megabytes here. So if you take a picture with your camera, you want to shrink it down, you got to do the two-step thing that I showed you. You want to go ahead and open it up in Paint first, shrink it down using the resize to get it, no more than 2,000 pixels. And then when you save it, you're going to say, oh, okay, that lopped off a lot. Probably cut it in half. Um, and then if it's 10 megapixels, it's probably about, I don't know, it's by 10,000 by 5,000 or something strange like that. So you want to be careful. So shrink it down using Paint. Once you get it down to 2,000 width, then throw it on up onto TinyPNG, download the finished product. So I recommend after you send it to TinyPNG, take your original photo and rename it so that when you pull the new photo over, you'll have both pictures. Because then what happens if it's in fact, let's now that I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and open up. Um, let's go ahead and open up our new picture with Paint. All right, so there it is. And when I do the resize button, let's make this bigger, and I do pixels, you can see it's 2000. It's the same as the other. So TinyPNG doesn't change the actual size of it. It just changes the file size by doing a little bit of compile magic. It takes the picture that you had and sends it through a compression utility that takes out a lot of the extra stuff it doesn't need in order to be able to render properly. All right, so that's the end of this video.